everybody, it's Coach Neil again with Nick the Tooth, and I'm going to teach you guys arm and guillotine, okay? So we have to go into some of the specs of this. The first thing I want to talk about is the grip, okay? The grip. Now, when you go for arm and guillotine, a lot of people don't pay attention for the position of the overhooked arm. That's actually going to be one of your secrets, okay? If my arm's elevated and I put like a, say I put like an iron bar underneath my armpit and in my neck, you're going to see it kind of lines up. The lower my arm goes, the more it comes at an angle, and then the side of my neck's exposed. So what's happening is when you go for an arm and guillotine, if the arm is low, you're probably not going to get the choke. So if I have his arm and I have his neck and it's like this, and my elbows are up, this arm's going to drop, and if the lower it goes, it's going to screw up my arm and guillotine. So I have to keep his arm up and elevated where I can have nice access to his neck. And what you're going to do to focus on that is right here, is the inside of my elbow. Okay? Anytime you do like a submission or especially a guillotine, you want your elbows in. You want your elbows in. But for the overhook, what you're going to do is you're going to try to trap, and you're going to use the inside of your elbow against the outside of his elbow. So I'm here. I have a nice hook. So this is going to be my grip. If I go for a guillotine and I try to pull up, the arm drops, the guillotine's not there. So I got to have this locked up tight. So that's going to keep him vulnerable for the choke. So that's very, very essential. If you're going for an arm and guillotine and you're failing, I bring this up first because this is your #1 problem you're going to have. Okay? Now, hand position and grip, there's a couple of ways to do it. One of the most positions that most people like, and it works like as a good basic, is when you catch your hands, is to have almost like a chin position. That's my mark. If you grab his chin, your thumb is in the base of his throat, that's basically where you want to be. Okay? So where this arm goes here, I'm nice and tight, I go around, and then I'm grabbing my own hand. Now, the other thing I want to do here is I want to cover the back of the neck, okay? I want to cover the back of the neck. I don't want his head to crown out, and that's another problem. So when I'm here, I'm going to drop my shoulder down, okay? I'm dropping my shoulder down. Now what I suggest is try to find a marker of your own. So whether or not you're going here, putting your chin on him, or the side of your neck, or something, to make sure your shoulder hits the back of the neck, okay? Now, when I'm here, I don't want his head to have mobility. So the rule of thumb is if this elbow's tight for the overhook, this arm's tight on the head. So elbows in, okay? So now I'm here, I got my head position, pinching my elbows and my head down. Okay, so now I have a nice grip of his arm and his head, and I'm in nice control. So the hands inside, grip, upper body's locking the head. Okay, so that's a good basic upper body control to pay attention to. Most people know how to do the regular guillotine, but they struggle with the arm in. I'm telling you right now, focus on that part of the arm. One of the things you could do to test your ability is whether or not you have this, if you can drag them. If you can drag them, that means you have a nice tight grip, okay? So I'm here, nice and tight. Now, getting the hips right, that's another thing we're gonna work on. Just lay back, please. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna cut Nick in half, okay? So I'm gonna go right through the middle of them. Let's just say this is side A and this is side B. So from all the way in this side, all the way in this side. When you're dropping back for a guillotine, okay, if I have this side overhooked and I have his head here, I want my hips on this side of his body, okay? That's gonna be the key. Okay, so you'll see like in certain situations, come here a second, where I'll have a guillotine. If I'm on my right hip like this, the guillotine is strong. I'm gonna have, you can see my ass is out, I got an angle. I'm on half of his body, so this is one half, I got the choke, my hips are on this half. I have a good choking position. If this was the reverse and Nick was going to the other side, you're gonna notice I don't have a guillotine. He's beating me with his hips, okay? Now this is very important because if you've been on a guillotine before and he's not choking like someone like Nikolai, he's very patient in chokes. And what he does is he waits for guys to readjust if he thinks he can survive, and guys don't believe in their choke or their grip and he gets out. Okay, so when you get a good grip, if your hips are in the right spot and your grip is tight, you should have a winner here. You should have a winner. But if your hips are off and you're still squeezing, he's got a way out. Take the time to shift and get on the right hip. These are big problems. You have to be able to problem solve your choke. Now, I don't go to full guard with guillotines. Even though it's a very powerful way to finish, I tend not to. I mean, I'm comfortable playing off my back as a guard player, but when I'm training fighters and working with other people, I prefer to do it like an open guard kind of position, mainly because of the fact that I'm looking for a way out in case I fail. Now, I'm going to show you how I like to play it, and in another video you'll see where I transition to if I fail. Okay, so rather than going closed guard, okay, I'll play like in a strange open guard position. So we'll get into the setup here in a minute. When I drop back and I'm here, I like to have my foot here. And what this does is it keeps his head, keeps his hips from double legging me. It keeps his hips on one side of my body. So it kind of permanently kind of puts him here. And then the key to this is to bring your other leg over and high leg and spur him. Like you don't want to be like this. You want to dig in on the other half of his body. So now I can really stretch. He's got no chances here trying to pass double me. And now my choke is going to be really easy to finish. All right, so I'm pulling this arm up. I have him stretched. All that body is stretched. The other leg is here. I'll get my grip tight and my hips come in as I stretch. So what this does, it allows me to get a good powerful choke, and it also gives him only one real escape to get out. And you'll see on another video when he goes to escape, what do I transition to? Because it's very, very important to have a way out, especially if you're doing ground fighting for like MMA. You don't want to get stuck on the bottom unless you really know what you're doing there. Okay? So just to kind of put together a little setup for this and mix with the grips and everything I just taught you, I like to do, go half guard. I like to teach stuff off an underhook getup. Half guard is such an amazing teaching tool. I love teaching stuff in the half guard because it really helps explain things top and bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to counter his underhook getup. So he goes underhook getup. I'm going to go to a top wrist, and I'm going to whizzer and catch his bottom leg and put him down. Now from this position, I'm going to switch to an overhook. Remember, this is a whizzer, overhook, come up and slide by. I want that overhook because I want his arm what? I want it high. So now from here, I'm looking at a mount guillotine, I'm working at a falling back for a guillotine. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to rotate, and I'm actually going to release, and I'm going to go around his head. Now when I'm here, I'm pulling on his elbow with mine. I wait for him to come up. I don't want to be close to him because he's going to pass me. So as he comes up, I just clock myself away, get in, high leg over, and finish. Okay? And finish. Okay? This works good in speed. So when I'm getting rushed, so he comes up, overhook, pass, he comes up, and then I have my way out too. Okay? And the reason why you hear Nikolai coughing a little bit is another detail. It's called I've always called it the scoop. Okay? It's just a scoop. And how this works when adding on to a guillotine, if he's here my hand right here is grabbing the chin. It goes into the body, it goes up to the neck, and it turns like you're scooping out like a piece of ice cream, okay? Go in, up, and back. And you do that always with your elbows tight. So as you're falling back, you get a little gagging sensation that adds onto the choke. Okay, so that's another little option. All right, okay. I'll show you one little other addition, and that's just going to the mounted guillotine, but we can spend more time with that on another video. So, yeah. We'll just use the same setup, okay? He comes up, boom, lizard overhook come up. Now I go over, I look at the mat, post on my head, and I have the tap, okay? If I'm setting this up and it looks bad and he comes up, I make my choke. Kind of got a nice combination. And if you keep watching these Hayabusa videos, the next one you might see from me is if he counters that guillotine, where do I like to go? And you're gonna see that. So work on the arm and guillotine, stay tight with elbows, work on the scoop, and make sure your hips are right. Because if he can't beat your hands, he can't beat the choke, he's gonna beat your hips to escape. So you gotta cover both grounds, upper body and lower. And then the next video I'll show you about if he escapes, how we can use that still as an offensive position. All right, so go try it at home. I wish you best of luck. Thanks Nikolai as usual. And take care everybody.